What happens when a seasoned television personality meets her match in the most uncomfortable chair on television? You won't believe what unfolds when Sharon Osbourne sits down with Piers Morgan for what was supposed to be a straightforward discussion about her career, only to find herself under relentless attack about her most personal struggles. This isn't just another celebrity interview gone wrong. This is a masterclass in how quickly respect can evaporate when a host crosses every conceivable line. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because you're not going to believe what unfolds when these two television titans clash in the most explosive confrontation we've seen all year. The tension was palpable from the moment Sharon Osbourne walked onto the set last night. What started as polite pleasantries quickly devolved into something far more sinister as Piers Morgan, true to form, began his psychological dismantling of yet another guest who dared to sit across from him. "Sharon, lovely to have you here," Morgan began with that trademark smile that never quite reaches his eyes. "Now, I have to ask about the elephant in the room. Your recent weight loss has been quite dramatic. Some might say, concerning?" Sharon shifted uncomfortably, her media-trained composure already being tested. "Piers, I'm healthier than I've been in years. I don't see how that's concerning to anyone." But Morgan wasn't finished. He leaned forward with the predatory instinct of a shark sensing blood in the water. "Come now, Sharon, we've all seen the before and after photos. The transformation is so extreme that people are wondering if you're using those weight loss injections that seem to be all the rage in Hollywood. Ozempic, perhaps?" The question hung in the air like a loaded weapon, and Sharon's expression darkened immediately. "That's quite personal, don't you think?" "Is it, though?" Morgan pressed, his voice taking on that condescending tone that has become his signature. "When you're in the public eye, making money off your image, isn't your health fair game for discussion? Especially when young women look up to you?" The conversation was already veering into dangerous territory, but Morgan was just getting started. As Sharon attempted to deflect with grace, talking about her fitness routine and healthier eating habits, Morgan interrupted her mid-sentence with the kind of calculated cruelty that has made him infamous. "Sharon, please, do you really expect us to believe that someone your age can achieve that kind of dramatic transformation through diet and exercise alone? Come on, you're 71 years old. Let's be realistic here." The studio fell silent. Even the camera operator seemed to freeze as Sharon's face transformed from diplomatic discomfort to barely contained rage. "Someone my age?" she repeated, her voice dangerously quiet. Morgan, seemingly oblivious to the volcano about to erupt beside him, continued his assault. "Well, yes. I mean, let's face it, Sharon, you're not a spring chicken anymore. The metabolism changes, the skin loses elasticity. It's just basic biology. So when we see these dramatic changes, people naturally assume there's some pharmaceutical assistance involved." What happened next would become the defining moment of the interview. Sharon Osbourne, a woman who has faced down record executives, battled addiction, survived cancer, and managed some of the most volatile personalities in rock and roll, finally met her breaking point with a talk show host who had pushed one boundary too many. "How dare you?" she said, her voice rising with each word. "How absolutely dare you sit there and make assumptions about my body, my age, my choices, as if you have any right whatsoever to judge how I live my life." Morgan, perhaps realizing he had overstepped but unable to back down without losing face, doubled down with characteristic stubbornness. "Sharon, I'm simply asking the questions that our viewers want answered. You came on this show to promote your book, your projects. Surely you expected some challenging questions." "Challenging questions?" Sharon's laugh was sharp and humorless. "You call making snide comments about my age and my appearance challenging journalism? This isn't journalism, Piers. This is you being a nasty, small-minded man who gets his kicks from making women feel bad about themselves." The atmosphere in the studio had become electric with tension. Morgan's forced smile was beginning to crack as Sharon continued her verbal assault, but he wasn't ready to concede defeat. "Now, Sharon, let's not get emotional here. I'm simply doing my job." "Emotional?" Sharon stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor with a sound that seemed to echo through the stunned silence. "You think calling out your unprofessional behavior is being emotional? You think having self-respect is being emotional?" Morgan, perhaps sensing that he was losing control of the situation, tried to regain the upper hand with another cutting remark. Sharon, I understand that criticism can be difficult to hear, especially for someone who's been in the spotlight as long as you have. The pressure to maintain relevance must be enormous. The final insult landed like a physical blow. Sharon's eyes blazed with a fury that decades in the entertainment industry had rarely seen. Maintain relevance? Maintain relevance? I was relevant when you were still learning how to hold a microphone without dropping it. I've built a career, raised a family, survived things that would break lesser people. And you want to sit there and question my relevance? Her voice had risen to a level that made everyone in the studio instinctively lean back. Morgan, for perhaps the first time in his career, looked genuinely uncertain about how to proceed. Sharon, I didn't mean to imply, oh, but you did mean it. She cut him off with surgical precision. Everything you've said tonight, every snide comment, every backhanded compliment, every attempt to make me feel small and insignificant, you meant every word of it. That's who you are, Piers. That's what you do. You tear people down because it makes you feel powerful. The studio lights seemed to burn brighter as Sharon gathered her composure for what everyone sensed would be her final statement. You know what the real tragedy is here? People actually watch this garbage. They tune in to see you humiliate and belittle your guests, and they call it entertainment. Well, I won't be part of your sick little game anymore. Morgan made one last desperate attempt to salvage the interview. Sharon, please, sit back down. Let's have a civil conversation about this. Our viewers deserve to hear both sides. Sharon's laugh was bitter and final. Civil conversation? From you? That's rich. You wouldn't know civility if it bit you on your sanctimonious behind. And as for what your viewers deserve, they deserve better than this. They deserve a host who treats his guests with basic human decency. She turned toward the exit, but then paused, delivering one final blow that would echo long after the camera stopped rolling. You know what's really sad, Piers? You could have been good at this. You have the intelligence, you have the platform, you have the opportunity to do something meaningful. Instead, you choose to be cruel. You choose to be small. And that's on you. With that, Sharon Osbourne walked off the set, leaving behind a stunned studio, a speechless host, and a moment of television that would be replayed and analyzed for weeks to come. The sound of her heels clicking against the floor was the only noise in a studio that had suddenly become a tomb of uncomfortable silence. Morgan, left alone at his desk, stared at the empty chair where his guest had been sitting just moments before, perhaps finally understanding that his reputation for controversial interviews had finally cost him something he couldn't afford to lose: respect.